Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about average transaction value. Now, when thinking about the sales levers that you can use to make more money in your business, you can either sell more, sell to more people, or sell more often. And so ideally, if you're doing all of those, then you're going to make more money overall. So in this particular one, we're going to talk about selling more. So each transaction that you have, you want to try and maximize. So it could be, you go to the fast food shop and they say, would you like fries with that? All they're doing is increasing the transaction value. They've done it also by bundling the products together. You get the fries, the drink, and the burger, as an example. So by bundling it together, now instead of it being just the burger for $16, for another $5, you can get the drink and the chips, where if you bought them all independently, would be another $10 as an example. So yes, they're kind of discounting, but they've got you to walk away with more stuff and you've paid them more money. So they've maximized your time in the shop. When you go online, you often see things like this where you've added something to cart and then you get a little pop-up that says, would you like to add on something else? Like if you go to an online florist, they're going to say, do you want to add a card? Do you want to add a bottle of wine? Do you want to add a little teddy bear? All of these things really start to increase the value of the transaction. Working on this metric can be very significant, and sometimes you have to work at it. You have to make your staff work at it. You have to make it such a habit that everybody just asks that question, to the point where you might stand behind them for a whole day. Be like, did you ask that customer? Did you ask that customer? Did you ask that customer? You need to be annoying with it. So one example was a bricks and mortar store. They were a low-cost outlet, and they just asked, would they like to buy a $2 bag? I think the total cost to the company of these bags, by the time you added them all up, was about 5 cents each. So they actually added a $1.95 profit margin to the sale. That doesn't seem like much, but the high volume of sales meant that they actually sold about 1,000 of these in one day. So by the manager standing behind the registers and talking to the 3 staff that they had in front of them, and saying, did you do the bag? Did you upsell the bag? Did you upsell the bag? They actually sold $2,000 worth more that day than they would have otherwise. And that is $2,000 is mostly gross profit because, $500 went into the cost of the stock. So you can see that it has a very significant difference to the sales. Now imagine doing that for every day in a week, or every day in a month, or every day in a year. There's quite a difference just by asking, would you like fries with that? Literally, that's the one thing that everybody can equate it back to, because you're used to hearing it every time you go to a particular restaurant. And by being asked that question, you walk away with more stuff. You've spent more money. The company has made more value out of its marketing dollar because they got you into store. And now when you make that little bit bigger of a purchase, they have maximized the value of you being in that store. Now do that across every staff member, across every transaction, across every store, across every region. Now you can start to see the difference between a brand that is successful and a brand that is not. The one that sells just a little bit more every day over the course of a year might make $20 million more in sales, particularly if you've got a lot of stores, a lot of transactions, and a lot of regions, etc. But if you're not incrementally improving things, then you're just stagnating or going backwards. Optimal decisions are made at the marginal level. So if you think this way, if you think like, I'm here to increase the amount of transaction value that I get out of every sale, then you're going to have a very, very different business in 6 months or in 12 months' time. Now, whilst we've kind of talked about the upsell, another good thing to talk about is the downsell. What if you've got a customer that's going to leave and not buy anything? Sometimes offering a smaller product that they will walk away with, because like we said, we've already spent the money getting them into the store by marketing and advertising, by paying the rent and being in the location, or whatever it is that got them there. You're already paying for all the assets. You may as well maximize the use of it. And so a downsell is something that will stop them from completely leaving and not spending anything. For us, we do quite complex CRM and implementations and things like that. And so sometimes it can be a little bit costly. And so in order to help people, we provide the videos and we have an online community. And that online community is a bit of a downsell. It's massive value to them because we've got all this information. We can help lots of people in one go by providing our content into that space. But by offering it as a low dollar, we kind of maximize our connection to the customer. We create a downsell opportunity. And sometimes just a little bit of trickle of revenue might lead to something bigger later. And that value is beneficial for both parties. So why not? Like with the downsell, maybe if someone is buying your course, you might create a little breakout component, maybe like a short little workshop or something. And you could say, just do this one little workshop and solve that problem for you. Yes, you've got this giant course over here and it's this many $1,000, but you could do this for $200 and just break through that little problem that you're having. So that could be a really great way to create a downsell product if you are providing information services. Sometimes this can be a little bit too far or a little bit annoying, particularly if it's robotic. You really need to make sure that you do it well, practice with your teams, get them to do it effectively. If you've ever gone to a servo or a petrol station and you fill up the fuel and you go in and you just want to make that transaction. And sometimes, yes, they are trying to upsell you. Oh, would you like to get this for $2? Would you like to get 2 of these for $3 or whatever? Now, I think that could be good, but if I'm asked an endless chain of things, do you want this for this and that for that and that for that and this for this? No, just give me the fuel. It could be really frustrating. So I think sometimes you maybe have to look at the customer, make a determination on what they might like, but only offer 1, maybe 2 things. Don't go crazy and get them to stand there for a spiel for 5, 10 things because they're just going to get frustrated and probably avoid you in future. So there's a fine line between the upsell and the cross-sell and all that sort of stuff. Now, on the cross-sell side of things, maybe there is a couple of other things that could be recommended. For example, you go to a clothing shop and say, someone's buying a shirt. Oh, would you like to get a tie with that as well? Would you like to get some cufflinks? Would you like to get a jacket or some shoes or some pants? And so there's some other things that often go with that. Same if you're going to go buy a car. They might say, if you want to upgrade the wheels, do you want to get we've got these little floor mats we can put in there that are really handy for whatever. We can give you the care kit, the little spray and a wiper thing so that you can look after your dashboard and things like that. And so those sorts of things, for a larger purchase, someone might settle in and listen to the list, particularly if there's a process around what someone is doing. Let's just say you're walking into a hardware shop and you're going to buy some tiles, and then you might say, well, where are you putting the tiles? And they could say, oh, I'm doing my bathroom. Okay, great. Have you done your wet area? Have you primed the paint underneath? Do you have the grout? Do you have the right color of the tiles? Or there's a sealant that you can buy, and do you have the trowel? Do you have the sheet that you need to lay down? Do you have some way to keep your house clean outside of doing your tiling? There's a whole bunch of things that maybe the customer didn't know that they should know, because maybe if they just went to get the tile but then completely forgot about having this or this in the chain of events leading up to doing that task or implementing that product or something like that. And so that can be a good way to have a longer list. But you really need to understand your customer, understand the product or service that you're selling, and then have an upsell or a cross-sell that's really appropriate. It could be that you go, hey, take a look at our bargain basement discount basket because we've got a couple of items we need to get rid of. That can be something that, on the off chance that someone might find something that's relevant. Sometimes increasing the sale basket is not just about making more sales. Sometimes it could be about moving old stock, getting rid of things that are no longer fashionable or just taking up room on the floor. So you could even run a giveaway, or you add some value and you say, get this thing, it's normally this price, but I'll give it to you for $1 because we've just got so much of it, we need to get rid of it. So yeah, you kind of, in that case, you're not increasing the value, or you're not just increasing how much the customer buys. What you're doing is you're adding value to the customer, but you're also reducing loss. So your cost reducing. So if you had this thing and it was $10, it cost you $10 and you're selling it for $20 normally. If you sell it for $10, yeah, you're kind of getting rid of it and you're making the money back that you spent. However, If this was taking up room and you really needed to get rid of it to bring something else in that was new, that was more of a hot product, you might sell it for $5. Yeah, you're making a loss, or even sell it for $1, but you're making 10% of the money back. So let's just say you had 1,000 of these things and you were going to lose, and so you sell them for 50 cents instead of a dollar. And so yes, you're losing money. You're losing 50% of what you would have otherwise made, but you're also gaining 50% of what you would have otherwise lost if you had have just thrown them out. So using an upsell can also be a way to cut loss and reduce the dead weight in your business. Now, when looking at average transaction values, quite often companies bundle things together in order to increase not only the transaction value, but sometimes to hide the value of other items. So if I had a kit, a particular type of kit, and maybe there's the core item, then there is the refills for the core item. Printers are a perfect example of this. So the kit that you get, the ink and the printer, the ink is actually worth almost nothing in terms of cost, in terms of real cost. And so the company makes almost all of their money on the printer ink. They make so much margin on the ink, it's not funny. The printer, they give away for free pretty much. So when you buy a printer and it comes with the ink and the cartridge, they're probably selling it to you at just enough to make a very small margin. But by the time you go and buy the ink again and again and again and again, and every printer has its own set of ink, so then you end up having to throw away half-empty ink cartridges if the printer claps out. You know, you can't just buy the printer on its own. It comes with a couple in the box. And it really masks the value of each of those individual items. And often if you want to replace ink, sometimes you can't always buy that one color. You have to buy the set. And so you might only need to replace one color. Or maybe you can get the black separately, but you can't get the three colors. And so what that does is it creates not only a massive wall of printer ink, and quite likely because there's so many, you might end up buying the wrong one, and then you have to chuck that out and then go and get another one. They're kind of getting money out of you in a way that doesn't feel like they're cheating you. Well, I think people are very aware of it now, but it means they're able to extract value and maximize the value of the transaction because they're always adding you on another thing. And so the profitability of different items masks the lack of profitability in others. So if you go to the supermarket and they have a sale for, let's just say Australia Day, like an event, and they might say $1 sausages or something like that. And so that's what's called a loss leader. That one thing is very little in terms of cost, but then you end up having to go and buy the bread, the sauce, the napkins, the plastic cutlery, and the whatever it is that you've got to buy to add on to that product to then make that sale or to make that experience workable. You might have some of those other items, but you're more likely to go and buy those other things. Or maybe if you buy them as a bundle, it costs you this price, and they're sort of saying that that's a really good deal, but the cost of the napkins or whatever is like 1 cent, so that they make a good margin on the bundle overall, even though it looks cheaper that you're buying all those things together. So this is some ways to price your products and services to maximize the value that you get from an individual transaction. And as I mentioned before, all of these things add up over time. As you bring together this information, as you bring together each little micro increase in the transaction value over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year, you're going to see a significant value increase in the company, in the transactions, in the revenue of the company, which again contributes down to the bottom line. Now, it takes discipline. This is something that you have to drive. And a business at rest is not competitive. So you really need to be working everything at all times. I hope you've enjoyed watching this lesson. Please stick around and watch the next one.